Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another video. It has been quite some time since I have uploaded anything to my channel or social media in general really. I've put like a few Instagram stories up and apart from that I've been pretty radio silent on the whole social media front, and the reason for that is I have had the last, I don't know, like 8 weeks have just been the worst 8 weeks. In terms of how I've been feeling. If you didn't know, I am pregnant and I am now coming up to 14 weeks pregnant. And I think the last video I posted was when I just sort of revealed I was pregnant, and it was like my 4-week update, although I filmed it a lot sort of longer ago because I filmed it when I sort of first found out I was pregnant. I didn't upload it then for quite some time, and since then I haven't uploaded anything. Because I've had the worst first trimester and I've just really not felt up to wanting to film or to post or to get dressed up or just do anything, and I think that's an okay reason. But I'm kind of starting to feel a little bit better now as I'm sort of heading towards the second trimester. Like, don't get me wrong, I still feel terrible, but I'm feeling better than I did, and I just want to perhaps get back into doing some YouTube again. I really wanted to document this sort of journey with you, and I feel like my journey is going to be a little bit different to an average pregnant sort of woman, like a normal pregnant woman that's had no issues before, just because of how complicated my pregnancy was the first time with George and my labour. So they're sort of taking extra precautions this time. So I've got so much to update you on because so much has happened over the last, I was going to say couple of weeks, but probably a couple of months that I just haven't recorded and documented. So I was planning on doing updates every sort of week, every couple of weeks, which from here I am planning on doing, but starting now I thought I would just film a video that explains perhaps everything from like week 4 all the way up to where we are now, which is pretty much week 14, and yeah, just sort of tell you where I've been, how I've been feeling, what appointments I've had, what appointments I have coming up, cravings, just everything about the last sort of 8 weeks in general, 12 weeks and 10 weeks in general. And baby brain is a real thing, guys. It is completely back. I thought I had got rid of that after George, although it seemed to never really go away. But I've made, again, a list on my phone of things that we can talk about today. But yeah, sorry for rambling for 3 minutes. I was just looking at the timer there on the camera. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please hit the big thumbs up button just to say that you liked it, and also subscribe. It's completely free to do so. Like I say, I've posted a few videos about the pregnancy already. There's going to be plenty more coming up that's going to include gender reveals and like guessing what the gender might be. Getting all like the old things down that we used for George, cleaning them up, seeing what we need, baby shopping, hauls, names, all that kind of thing. So if you do like the sound of that, if you enjoy those kind of videos, plus alongside the normal things I do like monthly favourites, cleaning, motherhood videos, daily life updates, that kind of thing, then hit that big subscribe button so you don't miss another video. And without further ado, let's get into today's video. Okay, so first of all, sort of comparing how this first trimester has been in comparison to George. I wasn't really that sick with George. Like, I had a bit of nausea, I felt nauseous, I felt tired, just like everyone does, but it didn't bring me down as much as this pregnancy has. And I don't know if that is also being pregnant whilst having a toddler already that is very, very demanding and needy. So trying to balance that with being pregnant, plus also working full-time, because that isn't something I did when I was pregnant with George. I worked part-time, they were really flexible with my hours, whereas now I'm working a full-time job where the hours aren't that flexible and they're really long. Looking after a toddler, trying to keep a house clean, trying to live a family life, trying to do things for me, and growing a tiny human in my tummy. So this time I am so much more tired and exhausted and sick than I have been. The nausea has been on another scale. I have been so sick. I barely could keep anything down the first sort of few, sort of maybe like 4 weeks to maybe like 10 weeks, and then I started feeling a little bit better. So I just went from eating what I normally eat to then really eating little and often, just so I always had something in my tummy. It would usually come back up, but as weird as this sounds, it always feels nice throwing something up rather than nothing, because otherwise it really hurts. So yeah, nausea and sickness and vomiting has been such a big part this first trimester, and I still feel occasionally now nauseous. Sickness has pretty much stopped. There may be some things like a smell that I might smell or something that I eat that I'm like, oh no, that doesn't agree with me. And then I will just run to the loo and be poorly, but that hasn't happened for a little while, so I'm really hoping that is starting to die down. And yeah, the fatigue, I think it's pretty much just working a full-time job, trying to look after a toddler, clean the house, do everything I want to do, and yeah, just not being comfy at night and not being able to get a very good sleep. That probably hasn't helped towards the tiredness at all. Moving on to like appointments and things then. So I had a couple, maybe like week 6, maybe like weeks, I can't remember exactly, week 6, week 7, I had experienced quite a lot of pain in my tummy, and it just really concerned me. And anything I've learned from George's pregnancy and labour is if you feel like there's something wrong, you know your body better than anyone else, and always trust your instincts and go and get checked out. Even if it turns out to be nothing, it's going to give you peace of mind, and if it was something, it'd be better to know. Turns out there was actually nothing wrong. I was okay, but I went and had some like early scans. The baby was measuring a little bit smaller, my dates weren't adding up, but they do say that when you're like really early and all they can see really is like a tiny little sort of fetus, they do sort of curl up. So that by the time we got to our 12-week scan, I was where I should be. I think I was actually measuring a little bit ahead actually. So 12-week scan was really lovely. Baby would not stop moving. Baby was so wriggly, and I think the normal appointment, she said, normally takes like 20 minutes to half an hour. We was in there about 50 minutes because this baby would just not lie still, and she couldn't obviously then measure the fluid between the spine because it just kept moving, which was nice because we just then got to sit there for 50 minutes and watch this lovely video of our baby, which was really exciting. So apart from that, that's like the only kind of like scans and like hospital appointments I've had. I obviously had my booking an appointment, which was really lovely. Obviously I spoke to my midwife, whose name is Emma. She is such a lovely lady. She calls me lovely and darling and sweetie every 5 seconds, but I feel like I need that during pregnancy, especially when you're feeling so ill. It's nice to have someone that's a bit mummy around you. So she's been really lovely and really good with me. Booking an appointment was a bit more emotional than I thought it was going to be. We spoke a lot about previous labours and births, and it kind of just brought up all those feelings and emotions of George being intensive care and me not getting that first moment with him. And yeah, I didn't expect to cry in my booking an appointment, but yeah, that was a new experience. And there was also like a student midwife there at the same time, so I either probably scared her off or she thought, oh, I can do this, I can look after her. And they both were great. They were really lovely. I've had a few other appointments come through, so after the booking in appointment, that's when we kind of like discussed what kind of appointments I was going to have after this because of how my birth was with George. So I've been referred to, I always get this word wrong, anesthesiologist, I think that's right, the guy that does the anaesthetic, or girl. So yeah, been referred to one of them because I do have a back condition where I do have an increased amount of fluid in my spine. My spinal canal is widened slightly. They're unsure as to whether I can have the epidural or not. So that is something that I've been in contact with the anesthesiologist for, got a few appointments coming up over the next couple of months, and we will sort of determine whether the epidural will be safe for me or not really. Also been referred to the preterm labour team. I had no idea that this was a thing, and it's given me quite a little bit of, I don't know, reassurance maybe, that perhaps there may be something that the hospital and the midwives can do to perhaps catch why I gave birth early and see whether it happened again. So I have an appointment actually in a couple of weeks' time at our local hospital at the maternity centre, and I'm going to be speaking to some premature labour specialists. And effectively what the appointment letter says, obviously I don't know the complete ins and outs yet, and perhaps I'll make a video on it, so if there's any other people out there that have had preterm babies, or that you're having a baby again now and you're worried about that, perhaps you can watch it and know what it's all about. But the appointment is effectively going to go through a whole list of things to try and determine if I am going to give birth early again. So I think they're going to do a internal scan of my cervix and measure the length of the cervix, and if it is under a certain thickness then they'll consider about putting a cervical stitch in, which will effectively keep the cervix closed until the stitch is removed. So that's obviously another way to perhaps prevent preterm labour. They're also going to take loads of swabs for infections. Oh, that's another thing I missed out. When I went for my booking in appointment and I did a urine sample, it came back that I have group B strep, which is what I had with George, which is just perfect. I have had some antibiotics already, and they said they'll retest me throughout the whole labour, the whole pregnancy, to check if the group B strep has disappeared or whether it's still there, and just monitor me throughout. But going back to the preterm appointment, they said they'll test me again there for things like thrush, BV, any kind of infections, Group B being one of the main ones because it can have quite a big impact on baby. So that's effectively everything we're going to do at that appointment, and hopefully I'll get a little sneaky peek of baby again as well. I think, I'm trying to think of anything else that's really happened in terms of like appointments and things. Oh, I'm consultant led this time rather than being midwife led, which, you know, I'm absolutely fine with either. So I'm going to have the midwife and a consultant there just to obviously monitor me and make sure that nothing is going to go wrong this time. And we also discussed options for whether perhaps a vaginal birth or a cesarean section would be better for me, and I might make a video on this perhaps at a later date, like my preferences and why I've chosen them. And at the moment in my head I'm convinced that I would like to go for an elective section, just so then I have some kind of control over the birth. I'll make a complete video about it, I think, as to why, because there might be some people that think that certain things are better to do, and I'll do like a pros and cons thing. But at the moment, for me personally and my partner and for the baby, I feel like an elective section is going to be the way forward. So that's kind of like appointments and sorted. We've spoken obviously about symptoms. Massive symptom, I keep fainting, and I was at work the other day and I just genuinely nearly passed out and I felt like I was just gonna go. So I messaged this woman like on Teams at work, who's like the most lovely lady. She's like my mum at work, and I just said I think I'm gonna pass out, and she bought me some water and a banana, and she took me into like the back sort of first aid-ish room. And she just lied me down, and I just felt so faint and dizzy and sick, and this just keeps happening. I've spoken to the midwife. She says it may be low blood pressure. I did have low blood pressure with George as well, but that's just such a weird symptom that keeps happening. Cravings, pretty much anything savoury or sweet. Skittles are something I'm really enjoying at the moment, sour Skittles particularly, and just anything that I can't have. I'm craving pate, I'm craving camembert, I'm craving blue cheese, a rare steak, all these things that I probably usually wouldn't eat. Now my body, because I can't have them, I'm really wanting to eat them. But I've just said to my partner, because we're going on holiday, we had a holiday booked before I fell pregnant. It's only an English holiday. I think we're going to like Norfolk for 5 days, but it's like after a month after the baby's born. And I've just said, when we go on holiday, I want all these things. I want you to cook them for me, because I'm just going to need all of them, please. But yeah, that is pretty much it. I don't know what else there is really to talk about, because the last 10 weeks have been a little bit of a blur, and I haven't really kept track of what's gone on. So obviously I've told you about how I'm feeling, symptoms, the appointments I've had, etc. And I don't really know what else there is to talk about, and I'm hoping now I've sort of updated you on where I've been the last however many weeks. Going forward, I want to be posting like an update, whether it's a weekly update if something has perhaps happened, or maybe every 2 weeks, depending if there hasn't really been any changes. And yeah, things like gender reveal. We're going to a gender scan in like, what, 3 weeks time? Talking about the preterm appointment, choices between VBACs and sections, premature labour video, all those kind of things. And yeah, I really want to get back into it. I want to get on top of my house, because my house hasn't been the cleanest, because I'm just so tired all the time. My partner has been great, bless him, with you know, keeping the house clean and doing all the childcare and things like that. But I feel like week 14, second trimester. I'm starting to not feel as crappy anymore and starting to get a little bit more of, I don't know, a bit of myself back really, and I'm just wanting to kind of get back into things. This, I don't know if you can tell, the lighting isn't that great. I've got a big ring light behind me, but I'm not so great at making it look like there isn't a ring light. So I'm filming this currently at 7 minutes past 9 after work, because I got home at about 7, dinner, put George to bed, cleaned up a bit, come upstairs, set the camera up, put on a tiny bit of makeup because I literally had nothing on this morning when I went to work, and I filmed a video. And I am planning now on filming another one after this, and then hopefully going to bed, and I'll edit tomorrow. But I'm really desperate to get back into it because I've actually watched my subscribers go up over the last couple of months. I made it to 1,000. I don't know how, but thank you so much if you're one of those 1,000. And I just want to keep trying to build this platform and just having like a space where I can talk about things and you know, get to know you all as well. But I think that is where I'm going to end today's video, because I have waffled and I'm not even really sure what about for the last 16 minutes. So if you did enjoy this video, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Like I said earlier, I'd love to have you as a viewer, completely free to do so. And yeah, that is where I'm going to end it. Oh, I'll quickly do a bump update before I go actually, because I probably won't do another video now probably for a couple of weeks in terms of bump updates. So I'll show you my bump. Okay, so this is tummy then from front on. I don't know if it's a bit deceiving because of the dress is a bit stripy. So this is from front on, and then if I turn to the side, I don't know where this has come from. I have just had dinner, which did involve quite a lot of carbs. However, that doesn't feel like much bloat because it is very hard. But I did show early with George, so I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be a big baby or what it is. But there we go. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in another video. Take care, bye!